Hello everybody, my name is Hjalte and this is the 6th episode of our Ultimate Sea Ice playthrough. If you're not quite up to date on the episodes, there's a link for the playlist in the top right hand corner. But for now, let's start with a short recap. Last time we had a fairly calm episode. The temperature fell below minus 150 degrees Celsius as we officially entered winter, which has placed some limitations on Kable's movements. Kable also had a ton of mental breaks, which caused him to make our chinchilla fur pants practically worthless. But that did probably save our components, so swings and roundabouts. Randy's exotic meat service also came by again, and we had a rather inconsequential raid. Finally, we ended up having to deconstruct our table in favor of another heater because Kay was getting hypothermia inside. Today though, Kay's a bit hungry, but when she's eaten she'll be fine. However, despite his catharsis, Table is not in a great mood. It seems he's getting a little fussy about a little light cannibalism. However, we'll let him sleep for now. Already, we have the first event of the episode. Some poor soul named Catherine has crashed near our base. A 78-year-old bodyguard. Really? Who needs a bodyguard in a nursing home? I suppose the more pressing question now is, who needs a frail half-blind bodyguard with back pain? You know what? RimWorld really should have a pensioner backstory. Like, a long time ago, Catherine spent her days snorting yayo with the leaders of the galaxy. Once, on a dare, she even won a fight against a bear in some dive bar on the rim, although that didn't do her back any favors. All in all, she's lived a great life, and these days she's happy just to reminisce and watch some pre-millennia TV. And then it should come with like an additional 50% recreation gained from watching TV, and of course 100% from eating jelly. Just a thought. Anyway, her gear is alright, but nothing special. Excellent stats though. But we won't be getting animals anytime soon, and melee is significantly worse at these temperatures. But we're never actually going to try to turn her, even if she wasn't too far away. We can't sustain feeding 3 people at this stage. Why won't you clean that? Well, I suppose it's not important when you're living in a frozen wasteland, but I like to keep a clean base. Table has gotten up and he's having a bit of breakfast, which is the only thing on his schedule for the next few hours. So he decides to go for a bit of rec. Of course, now that you have hypothermia, it's time to clean, that's logical. Well, at least it didn't take long. Unfortunately, we still don't actually have anything for Table to do, so he'll wander around till Kay goes to bed. Kay's up and quickly devours her breakfast. And we're going to let her play horseshoes for a bit. Hopefully she'll get one of these satisfied recreation buffs. Unfortunately though, that is going to be the most exciting thing to happen today, so we're going to rejoin them in the morning. Kay's up and about, starting her day off with a bit of recreation. Kable has made the switch, and while we wait for it to be time for Kay's lunch, I think it's time we move the research table back to the bedroom. Because the heaters can maintain a decent temperature in there even now, and when we slaughter the panthers, they're going to take up more space as well, so let's just get that over with right away. There we are. Alright, Table has just gotten up and he's going to set up the butcher table for Kay. Right, it looks like Table is starting to get real hungry. So he's going to grab some food and then Kay's gonna get started on butchering. Okay, so that gave us 133 units of meat and 69 units of fur, which isn't bad. Now Kay's going to get the butcher table out of here again and then she'll get started cooking. Put that up if you please. By the way, has anyone else noticed that we haven't actually had food poisoning once? Given that Kay started at 0, that seems statistically extremely unlikely. But let's not jinx it. Kay just has a real talent for cooking. Well, that and butt stroking Table. Yeah, I know. That sounds wrong, but it's actually pistol whipping with a rifle. Which I'm guessing is a very different kind of wrong to whatever you were thinking. There's no reason to have Kay working in the dark, so let's move this. Now let's go over here actually. And Kay has finished up the batch and she's off to bed. Like always though, she's trying to sneak a meal with her. So we'll have her drop that now. She can have it for breakfast. Table's intellect is coming along nicely, and this round-the-clock research is really going to help us in the long run. We're also looking at minus 12 degrees in the other room and 15 to 20 degrees in the bedroom, despite it being 145 below zero outside. We need significantly better clothing and a lot of steel to expand, but all in all things are coming together nicely. And we have the first raid of the episode. So, the Pact of Galosu... The Pact of Galosua. Yeah, let's go with that. These names are killing me. Anyway, they're going to set up their attack, so we're not gonna have to deal with them in any case. And since we're still poor, it's again only one raider. Salamander here also has the worst gear that we've seen, so not getting it is not a loss worth mentioning. And he's already down. Admittedly, these early game raids haven't been very interesting. I believe that raids should attack immediately at extreme temperatures. For example, that could be below minus 50 degrees and above 50 degrees. Because staging your attack at below minus 140 degrees Celsius logically makes no sense, and they don't exactly provide a challenge. Rebuff by K, really? Come on, Table. You're a middle-aged man hitting on a teenager. That's just a particularly creepy mixture of sad and wrong. Not to mention that she is your supreme leader, and you're just barking up the wrong tree there altogether. Alright, let's just have Kable make the switch. But it looks like Table isn't handling Kay's rejection of him very well. We could have Table eat some jelly, but we really want to keep that. Besides, with his chronic serious pain and nothing to do, he's bound to break sooner rather than later, so we're just going to let him. Obviously it's not optimal at these temperatures, but we have Kay to save him if need be. Catatonic is normally among the worst breaks you can have on sea ice, but right now, it's almost a positive thing. I don't know about you, but I was getting tired of watching him wander around. Obviously, it won't help our research, but we're doing alright in that department. And the reality is that it's probably going to be the high-tech research bench that's going to be the real bottleneck in the end. Alright, Kay, if you still want him to survive, get him some food, will you? Now that you're at it though, I think it's time that you finish preparing the rest of our meals. That gave us another 17 meals, so we have enough food to last well into spring. Let's forbid that. Actually, let's not. The human meat is already forbidden and the stove is turned off, so it shouldn't matter. Well, since Table isn't in a position to object anymore, let's move him out of the bedroom. That will replace Kay's awful barracks debuff with an awful bedroom instead, and that's only -4. There we are. Kay's going to grab a late dinner because we want to avoid Kable having mental breaks at the same time. To also get in a bit of recreation and then turn in for the night. So we'll join them again in the morning. Kay started the day off by feeding Table. Now that she's out here, she can also pack up the stove again. And once she has put that in storage, she'll get back to researching. And we got another part crashing down. Once again, it's a member of Club Panthers. Dead in 6 hours. Yeah, I think it's going to be quicker than that. Excellent stats though. Sarah here appears to be naked, which is generally not advisable when traveling. It also greatly reduces our incentive to bother with her. At least she isn't too far away, so we can look forward to that steel slack in the near future. Kay's off for a bit of recreation before having her lunch and returning to work, so we'll leave her to it. Table has become starving during the night and Kay's ravenous. However, with our morning snap we get the Royal Ascent quest. If you have played RimWorld Royalty before, it will be familiar to you, as it is a new endgame option you can choose. In order to accept the quest, you have to be a count or countess. You also have to be able to satisfy the High Stelac's needs. And once you've accomplished that, the Stelac will come to visit for 12 days. You must then ensure his survival and that his mood remains above 25%. The Stelac will bring 4 members of his personal guard, which will be at our disposal when you defend him. But out here on sea ice though, it will probably be easier and cheaper to simply build the ship. Because if we look at his requirements, there are a lot of them. In any case, we haven't even received the intro quest to join the Empire, so Kay becoming a countess is a long way off. Kay's up and starting her day with some breakfast before feeding Table. Then she's back to work and we'll join them again later. Kay has become recreation deprived, which is probably going to be a problem as it gets worse, because she's grown tired of playing horseshoes, but we're not going to act on it just yet. Table is hungry again already due to the mild malnourishment he experienced during the night, so we're going to feed him a bit of raw human meat, because we don't want to risk giving Kay another debuff right now by butchering the corpse we have lying outside. There we go, that will keep him afloat till the morning I think. Looks like Kay is depending on her passion for research to avoid becoming a major break risk here. However, a bit of food should put a smile on her face again. Unfortunately, once again, it's poorly timed, so she's going to burn through most of that meal during the night. Kay starts off the day by feeding Table. As you can see, she's doing alright today. However, besides grabbing some lunch and getting a bit of much needed recreation, not much is going to happen before Kay has gone to bed. Table's break is over, so that must be about 4 days, because he went down in the morning of the 4th of December, which illustrates why catatonic is among the very worst breaks that your pawn can get, at least while they are alone. Table has gone straight to work, but let's have him take care of the corpse outside in preparation for his upcoming break, which I believe is scheduled to take place on the 10th of December, because that's when his catharsis ends. With this many mental breaks, we want the maximum yield, so we'll have to wait for Table to stop shivering. Meanwhile, Kay has gotten up to enjoy a bit of breakfast. Well, look at you, jumping at the opportunity to butcher somebody. Your enthusiasm is disconcerting, Kay. Take over that, will you, Table? That got us to 85 units of human leather, which isn't quite where we want to be, but we're certainly getting closer. Let's get that out of here now. No, Table would rather play, but that's fine, he can hold it afterwards and clean up the mess he made. Alright, let's have Kay cook some fresh meat. I suppose that we should wait till Table gets up for maximum efficiency, but it will take such a short time that I can't be bothered, to be honest. But we will leave it for Table to pack up the stove again. Table's up and enjoying, well, not enjoying, but still devouring his breakfast before getting rid of the stove, which is the only thing on his to-do list till Kay goes to bed. Remember that parka that I refused to have Kay put on? Let's give that to Table. Let's preserve that toque as well. Looks like Kay might have gotten a little hungry from cooking that corpse, and it's pushing her into major break territory. But we'll let her eat in a minute, despite that it's almost time for bed. Table takes over, just in time to steal the glory for Kay's hard work. And there we have it, microelectronics. And it's only the 9th of December. We're making excellent time. Now we're going to start researching smithing, so we have that ready for when we have enough steel to build turrets. Kay has just gotten up and she's eager to work. I had hoped that giving her a few idle moments would get her to do some recreation, but she wasn't interested. So, let's have Table eat and Kay can take over the work on this new and exciting research project. A little while later, a flash storm appears near the edge of the map, which Kable are completely uninterested in. Kay has become recreation starved, which is a massive -20 debuff, and it has pushed her to the edge of her sanity. So let's get her some food and see if it helps. Now she could go for a bit of wreck, so we're certainly going to let her do that for however long she likes. 36%, that's not too bad. But Kay's little flirtation with the edge of sanity is also the most interesting thing to happen today. Besides Table grabbing a succulent meal, so we're going to join Kable again in the morning. It's 7 AM and Table is taking a little break. Not that kind of break for once. But it is the 10th and Table's catharsis is over. It will also be a few hours before he stops thinking about the person he ate, so he's due for another break. Well, it looks like Table loves horseshoes so much that he's decided to go straight back out into the cold with minor hypothermia, and it might keep his next break at bay, or induce it, we'll see. We have another meteorite surviving the trip through our atmosphere. This time around it's jade, which could be good, depends on where it landed, but it's likely a small one. That is the most beautiful thing I've seen since the Megaslavs. And it's close. Reachable even at minus 130 degrees. And in our current situation, it's so much better than stone. Because jade, unlike other stone types, is mined in blocks like steel, ready for use. It's not good for walls because of its low hit points, but it is great to increase your beauty rating. By the way, it also makes for surprisingly effective blunt weapons. Just putting that out there. However, off the top of my head, we're going to use it to make a bed, and with this much, probably another room. An impressive one at that. However, as I said, it's not optimal for walls, but it is better than steel. Because while it only has 150 hit points, which is half of the durability of steel, steel's 300 hit points is also terrible, so it doesn't matter much. But the important part is that jade isn't flammable, and that's a major concern in the early game. If we build a room from jade, later on we'll double wall it with the hardest stone types available to us, and that should deal with the durability issue for the most part. Table's having breakfast and then he's going to change his clothes and get mining. 127 degrees below zero, and Table is only at 13% hypothermia. Alright, 26%, that's enough for now. 42% high, but certainly manageable. But that also means that at the current temperature, we can expect each tile to take around 3 trips. While Table gets warmed up, Kay is going to grab a snack and head to bed. Once again, Table takes over just in time to complete the research. So now we have smithing. Next up is machining, which is certainly a table we're going to build down the line, but we have a few projects that we need to get the resources for first. It's also perfectly timed, so Table is going to venture out to mine our jade again. Although it is colder now, 42% wasn't that bad, so we will push Table slightly further. %, at almost minus 140 degrees. Not bad, Table. We will let you warm yourself with some research. By the way, notice that Table is soaking wet. That's due to the unfortunate landing site of the jade. Standing in water will do that to him. Unfortunately, Table's catharsis will be over in a minute, and he'll have the butchered human debuff for another 3 days. But we're not going to try to circumvent that. Table's mood is starting to tank completely, and we're just going to let that happen. But you can be 100% certain that he'll be mining when he breaks. We should send him back, but we'll let him finish this tile. There we go, 26 units of jade, excellent. Meanwhile, Kay has gotten up and Table hasn't broken yet, so he's going to grab some food. As you can see, Kay's also recreation starved again. So we're going to let her eat a few units of jelly to keep her from breaking. But we'll have to caravan for that, because we don't currently have a consume X command. Something else that I've asked the developers for, because there's no way that we'll let Kay eat her fill of the insect jelly. Just unforbid that. Now we just have to move Kay away so she doesn't drop it in the pile that she just took it from. In the meantime, as you can see, Table has taken over researching and he'll be rid of his hypothermia soon. There we go. And look at that. About half full recreation for only 6 units of jelly. Table could use some as well, but he'll be off to bed soon. Perfect. Look at all those debuffs. Let's get you to bed before you break. In the meantime, we're going to let Kay play for as long as she likes before she gets back to work. It's time for Kay's dinner. Table is also about to get up, although he is in a terrible mood. So we're going to let him have 5 units of jelly. And the procedure is the same as before. Unfortunately, as you can see, that only sent him out of extreme break territory, but we won't use more jelly on him just yet. I don't know why he insists on running out into the water to mine. I think it's because it's the shortest distance from our base as the crow flies. Table hit 50 this time around. But it's also 145 degrees below zero, so it's what you have to expect. So Table can take over instead of wandering around aimlessly. Table's rid of his hypothermia and no longer major break risk, so things are looking up for him. Seriously, Randy? You couldn't just let me have this one. And Sad Wanderer just takes ages. Well, we're not going to do anything about it. Kay has been up for a little while and it's time for her to eat. She won't be giving Table a medicinal beating or try to rest him, since the Wanderer is benign. Instead, we're just going to have to wait it out. Table's break is already over. That feels quick to me, so I'm not going to complain about that. Let's queue up a meal. No, let's give him one of the succulent ones, because he should be alright now that he's cathartic. Well, it's Kay's turn to be a break risk, now that she's back to being bored by the horseshoes. Life on sea ice isn't easy, is it? Honestly, Kay kinda deserves a break. She has withstood living on sea ice surprisingly well, although she has been able to stay indoors pretty much constantly for a long time. The only problem is that now we have the same problem as we did with Table. We don't have enough food for her to binge on, he has no social, while she has the rifle, and because of all the beatings, almost the same melee. So, medicinal beatdown it is. Kay's down and she didn't even get to eat a second meal, so well done, Table. Although you're not winning any gentleman contests with that type of behavior anytime soon, you best grab a meal right away before tending to her. That's quite a beating. Kay can certainly take a punch. But Table, did you just destroy her toe? What's wrong with you? That's no way to treat a lady. Especially not the one who saved your unstable ass. Well, at least this psychic drone isn't going to matter much. Although it is a -12 debuff. Well, anyway, Table's off to bed soon, so we'll let them sleep in peace. Kay's up and having a succulent lunch despite the drone, because we want to be rid of those meals and Table is going to be under more pressure than she is at the moment. Afterwards, she will return to work and will rejoin Kable in a bit. Table is starting off his day with a snack, while Kay is taking a little time for some recreation. But let's not have her down herself right now. She needs to be able to help Table if he gets into trouble. Meanwhile, Table's going back to mining. But I think I may have gotten a bit preoccupied with the jade and the break, so this episode is running a bit long. So once Table gets back, we'll call it a day. If you want to find out what happens next, click the subscribe button. As always, if you have any comments, questions or requests, write them in the comment section and I'll be sure to get back to you. Lastly, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, it'll be much appreciated. Thanks for joining us.